Moi drodzy, Eldenowe newsy. Wszedł duży update do Elden Ring Nightreignie i to jest związane nie tylko z nowym bossem, czy tam ulepszoną wersją bossa, jak zwał, tak zwał, ale również z trybem duo. No i jakieś dodatkowe newsy do tego. Storm oglądamy.
Alright, what's going on, guys? Elden Ring Nightreignie has just received a very long-awaited update, and the first major post-launch support patch, bringing with it a new feature that we've literally been waiting for since before the game came out, as well as the first fight in the second batch of Everdark Sovereigns, Maris Fathom of the Deep. And I gotta be honest with you guys, From Software might have just dropped the worst boss of all time, but man is it cool. So we get a lot to break down today with patch 1.02. We're gonna take a deep dive into this new Everdark Sovereign fight, break down all of what's new with that. And it's weird that they started with Augur because this was one of the only ones that did not leak ahead of time, but a very interesting fight nonetheless. And then we're gonna go deep into the patch notes, go over literally everything new and all of the major changes. So we got a lot to break down. But as we get started today, if you want to stay up to date on all things Elden Ring Nightreignie, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and now let's get into it. So let's start off by talking about Enhanced Augur. Where do we even begin?
Zaraz będziemy
the
go
first
bić.
half of this fight is actually incredibly easy. It does not start out in the second phase of the regular Augur fight.
O, to akurat jest inne. Wszystkie poprzednie fighty z Everdark Sovereign, to ulepszenie, zaczynały się drugą fazą i miały dodatkową trzecią zamiast drugiej jakby. Po prostu pierwsza była pomijana. Tutaj tak nie jest. Dziwne trochę.
Like the rest of the Everdark Sovereigns. Instead, the first half of this has you facing off against the Invasion version. Very simple, very straightforward. The only attacks that this one has are the waves. There's an ironic joke there to talk about the delay. The reason this fight didn't come out last night, but I'm not gonna make it. You don't really have to worry about much here. I would highly recommend trying not to get hit and save your flask, because you're gonna need them in the second phase. But you don't have to worry about the jellyfish, you don't have to worry about the tentacles, none of that. This one is very simple and very easy. Just take it out as you would any other boss and prepare
Czyli
for what's
gąbka
to
do bicia
come,
startowo,
both
no.
in-game and mentally. Now, when you do whittle down this health bar and take it out, the fight is not over. It will then drop a gold reward, giving you a gold version of your character's starting weapon.
Kurde,
and
ciekawe.
you will have to use this in the second phase of the fight. From this point on, your loadout means nothing. Now, this weapon you received has a special ability.
Ty, to jest bardzo dziwne, bo to powoduje, że tak naprawdę będzie nam zależało wyłącznie na levelach i pasywkach z broni, ale ostatecznie do broni jesteśmy zakutej konkretnej na tym.
If you hold down L2, you will get a very familiar effect.
O kurde.
Now, if you have not played Dark Souls 3 or
Dark
Demon
Souls
Souls, you might be very
Storm.
confused here. But this is a repeat version of the Storm Ruler. So when you hold down L2, it's going to begin charging an attack. You have two phases of this attack, one that shoots out a horizontal beam, and a fully charged version which shoots out a vertical beam. This is your key to damaging the boss. This will be your primary means of damage, so you're going to be
W
doing
sumie ten boss był gówniany, więc zrobienie z niego jakiegoś gimika nie jest wcale takie głupie.
this throughout the fight. Now, a couple things to note. While you're charging up this attack, it will restore your FP. So that's not an issue. I saw some people saying that, wait, if I run out of FP, is the fight just over? No, it's not. You'll charge it up by charging the attack as well. Now, what makes this fight so ridiculous is that obviously the boss will be attacking you the whole time and will go through the attacks it has. But the problem is, obviously you have to stand still to charge up the attack. You can walk a little bit,
kurwa,
but of
jakieś
course the
lasery mu
timing is the
dodali.
issue. And the boss moves around so much that if it's far enough away, there's a good chance your projectile is just going to miss. But let's break down some of these attacks here. Now, at the beginning a bit, it's going to be spamming this attack where it shoots out these bubbles that land on the ground and do a small explosion. These are so annoying because most of the time it's going to catch you while you're trying to charge up your attack. And if you dodge one, there's a good chance you're going to walk into the radius of another. So really be aware of your positioning while it's spamming
Totalny
this.
MMO boss.
Also, periodically throughout the fight, it can do the sleep attack that the regular version of Augur has. However, this now covers the entire arena. It cannot be dodged. So you have to charge up an attack and knock it out before it puts you to sleep. So really make sure you charge up the full vertical slash in order to stun it. Another attack that it can do, as you'll see on screen.
Okej, czyli teraz już nie można ograć zonowaniem. Sprytne.
Is cause this giant wave to appear. This forms like a little bubble on the map that's
To wygląda po prostu jak walka z MMO, czy z jakiegoś wręcz PoE, że musimy się dobrze pozycjonować i tyle. To pozycjonowaniem wygrasz, bo damage będziesz miał zagwarantowany przez broń i pewnie będzie on w miarę stały, no ewentualnie skalujący się z poziomem, ale no.
slowly moves towards one of the players.
Ciekawe.
So make sure you get out of the way. It doesn't last super long, but it will do a lot of damage if you stay in that radius, so be aware. But once you get the Everdark Maris to about 70% health, it'll start summoning these orbs around it. These will continuously shoot out lasers, but this attack is pretty easy to dodge because it'll fixate on the position you're standing. So if you're charging up the Storm Ruler, just simply walk to the side and you'll end up dodging those lasers. Easier said than done though. But these orbs that shoot the lasers can be destroyed, and you want to take them out as soon as possible to make your life easier. But again, the problem is they move, so they're super hard to hit. The boss also still has this vortex charge attack from the normal fight. Be aware of that too. But the main attack to look out for is a big Meteor type laser that traces along the ground and then will leave a massive shockwave that does some crazy damage.
Ja realnie uważam, że ten boss wygląda lepiej niż jego podstawowa wersja z tymi mackami. Serio, podoba mi się to znacznie bardziej.
But your only course of action with that one is just to simply get out of the laser's trail. Now I gotta be honest, this fight is rough. This might be the hardest fight in the game.
O kurwa.
Not because the mechanics are hard, but simply because it just moves too much. It's so hard to actually do damage because your attacks will straight up miss most of the time. And on the first run here, this boss absolutely cooked us, man. This was tough, but if there's some big secret weakness I don't know about, please let us know down in the comments section, because any way to make this fight easier, we're gonna need it. But what do you guys think about the enhanced Augur fight? Probably my least favorite so far, but the callback to
Oj, mi się wydaje, że mi się dużo bardziej spodoba niż to, co było ostatnio. Te 3 paski zdrowia, kurwa, na ćmie, to był jakiś żart nieśmieszny.
Ruler in Dark Souls 3 and Demon Souls is actually really cool. I just wish it would have been executed a little bit better. Now, if you do lock in and manage to beat this fight, your reward is the new Dark Knight of the Fathom relic that you can purchase in the store. It increases maximum HP, grants continuous HP recovery,
Dobre.
and also restores HP for self and nearby allies when HP is low. And I will absolutely be running this on my Raider build. But man, this fight is brutal. Congrats to those that have beaten it already, but it's gonna take some work from me.
Lecimy
Alright, so
z
let's
tym
talk about
zaraz.
Duos mode now, which we've been waiting for a long time.
Duosy, moi drodzy, to jest kluczowa zmiana w tym patchu, bo tam boss bossem, jasne, będziemy sobie wracać, za tydzień będzie kolejny i tak dalej, ale kurcze pieczone, ile im zajęło dodanie tego duo? No 2 miesiące, całkiem sporo, biorąc pod uwagę, że moderzy zrobili to po 2 dniach, ale jest, nareszcie, wiadomo, 3 graczy dużo ciężej zebrać w kupę niż 2, więc ludzie, którzy po prostu chcą sobie ogarnąć z jednym znajomym lub nie wiem, chcą po prostu grać multiplayera z jednym graczem, będą mogli to zrobić. Więc dobra zmiana. Ciekawe jak z balansem tego, bo faktycznie na solo jest różnica, jakie są paski zdrowia przeciwników. Przynajmniej ja tak uważam, że to widać, że solo jest bardzo proste. Też fakt tego, że AI przeciwników całkiem dobrze jest zaprojektowane na solo. To bardzo jestem zaintrygowany tym, jak to zrobili pod 2, nie? Zwłaszcza z bossami, które na przykład są z 3 paskami zdrowia, czyli masz koniarza i 2 pomocników, nie? Jak to będzie wyglądało.
Just ship with the game on launch. But now when you go to the round table to select going on a mission and the amount of players you want, you no longer only have the option of solo or multiplayer. You can now select 1, 2, or 3. Very straightforward, and I think it works. Now, I did do a duos run this morning, and it felt great. This might actually be one of the best ways to play the game, because the damage scaling is way better than trios, and it looks like you also get a 25% rune increase from trios as well. I mean, in this run, we got Crucible Knights in the castle. We were both level 12 before the first night, so duos does seem like the way to go. Potentially even more so than solos, though you don't get the free revive. But I'm super happy they added duos. Should have been here from the beginning, though. But now let's take a deep dive into everything new that came with the patch, and there are a lot of really significant changes that people have been asking for and that some people are not going to like. Starting off with our new features and improvements. Added 2-player expeditions. You may now start an expedition with 2 players. To reflect this change, the expedition typesetting name has been changed to number of players. The game balance will be adjusted to the current number of players, exactly as we just discussed. Also, new filtering options have been added to the relic effect filter screen to allow a more precise selection of relic effect.
Jezu, to jest coś, czego każdy potrzebował i każdy o to prosił. Te reliki bardzo ciężko się wybiera, zwłaszcza jak ich nafarmisz. Nareszcie jakieś filtrowanie dobre relików.
And to access that, you either press the left stick or the 4 key on PC. So let's take a look at this. So like it says, now when you go into the relic menu, you can open up this new menu to filter
no i
by the
zajebiście.
effects. And it seems like it includes every effect that you could have.
Kurde, ile razy ja miałem sytuację, że mówię sobie, dobra, dajcie mi chwilę, tylko znajdę relika, który daje mi jakiś tam poison czy inny armament na postartową broń. No bo to bardzo dobrze działa ogólnie, nie? Jak sobie pod słabość bossa wybierasz. I cholera jasna, przeglądałem każdego relika i nie mogłem tego za chuja znaleźć. W końcu będzie to bardzo proste.
On a relic. Very detailed stuff. You can even sort by character specific effects, in addition to the sorting options that were already present. And you can include up to 3 special effects, and it will of course order in kind. Now this is a really good change. You no longer have to sit there and guess which relic you're looking for and scroll through every single one you have, especially especially if you've been playing for a while. It was just way too tedious, so I'm glad they included this. It makes it a
Fajna
lot
zmiana.
easier for build crafting and such. Next up, the presets of the currently selected character will now be displayed first when opening all presets list in the character selection menu during expeditions, so you can actually see what they load out with. Passive and special effects have been added to the information that can be viewed in the results menu, added tabs to the small jar bazaar and collector signboard menus, and added the ability to skip a part of the cutscene after defeating the knight aspect. Also added detailed description of the shop menu of Limveld merchants. You can open the detailed description of the weapon by pressing the right stick or 3 key on PC. Actually a great change there. And they added several other UI adjustments and improvements. Now here's the big stuff. Adjusted the probability of shifting earth occurring in Limveld. Now they do not specify if that's an increase or a decrease, but if I had to bet, that's an increase.
Bardzo dobrze. To jest kolejna rzecz. Zdecydowanie zbyt rzadko działy się zmiany terenu. Jak już dostawałeś jakąś, to miałeś ją kurwa przez 10 czy 20 ranów, albo nie miałeś żadnej kilka dni. Mega dziwne. Ja uważam, że to w ogóle powinno być zmienione tak, że skoro mamy 4 dodatkowe tryby na mapie i 1 podstawowy, no to każdy po 20% szansy i tyle. I losuje ci się za każdym podejściem to, co będziesz miał. Ja nie widzę w ogóle żadnego sensu, żeby było inaczej. I powinni dodawać nowe.
Shifting Earths anymore. Personally, I think before this patch I was seeing them like maybe 1 in 5, but hopefully that increases some of the randomness because that was a big complaint I had too. The runs didn't feel random enough, and a big part of that was because you just never see the Shifting Earth events. So I'm really happy to see that, but what do you guys think? Last up on the features list, removed the feature that causes the session to be disconnected when a certain amount of time passes without any action when the number of expedition participants is set to 1. So you'll no longer be kicked for going AFK in solos. The last part of this patch is a very long list of
Dużo
bug
bugów
fixes which I'm
naprawione,
not going to
okej.
read all the way through, but there are some pretty big ones that, ironically, I think people are going to be upset about. We've got some small buffs to Iron Eye and Revenant there at the top. Now here's some big one. They fixed the issue where the Winding Grace revival would not count as a revival and you would still lose sometimes. I've seen that happen way too many
nie widziałem
times.
tego.
Thankfully, that's now fixed. Now this one's gonna tick a lot of people off. They patched the duplication glitch, so you can no longer drop your weapons or items and pick them up with somebody at the same time to duplicate it. Probably a good change in the overall scheme of things, but I've also seen way too many people that regularly rely on that. But those are the major bug fixes that stood out to me. There's a lot of other ones that might have happened to you, which you're welcome to read through. But y'all let me know down below if there are some other really important ones that I didn't touch on. But that is the new Elden Ring Nightreignie update.
Spoko,
A lot of
Pacyk.
new stuff, a lot of big
Ja
changes.
nie mogę się doczekać kolejnych bossów. Zaraz idziemy z Augurem się bić, ale kurde, Libra, Gladius. Ja nie mogę się doczekać, co z tym Cerberem zrobili, bo to może być fajna walka. No i final boss swoją drogą. No. Ludzie odkryli w plikach Nightreigna, że jest tryb rankingowy typu boss rush polegający na stopniowym zwiększaniu poziomu trudności. O kurwa! Co ty gadasz? Dobra, co ty pierdolisz? Co to jest za info? O cię chuj. Dostaliśmy coś, co może spowodować, że Nightreign będzie grany non-stopper. Jak oni chcą dodać rankedy do tej gry, my gadaliśmy o tym od początku. To jest coś, co motywuje po prostu do grania, nie? To jest coś, co powoduje, że chcesz napierdalać, bo jest z kim konkurować. Ale mega dobre. Ale kurde mega dobre. Boss rushyk, który cały czas ewoluuje trudnością. Nice.
And a very questionable boss. But y'all let me know down below, what do you think of patch 1.02? What do you think of Everdark Maris? And definitely drop some tips down below for people that have yet to beat it. With all that though, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like on it and subscribe if you're new around here. And I will catch you in the next one.
Kurde, nawet Ishizaki chce mnie uratować od Ligi Legend i tworzy rankedy w Nightreignie, ja pierdolę. No dobrze, top 1 będzie wbijany. Jebać cię, Gino Machino, pozdrawiam. O cholera. O ja pitole, ale mocna rzecz.